guys, this is my first video, so it's anything but professional, and I really hope that you will be able to kind of see what I'm trying to show you guys. So what I was asked was on how I created this color shift powder chrome effect on my current project, the Geodetoise, which is basically just a Gannontoise from the new Zoids Wild series, painted to look like kind of a geode. So the body's gonna be all like crystally or look like a gem kind of thingy. You can also see it on this part here. I'm trying to show it a little. It's a chrome powder that shifts from blue to purple. Like even it's especially in the indirect light, it has a really strong blue reflection where the light shines the brightest, and it's really trippy. So if you look at it in real life, it kind of trips your eyes out. Alrighty then. So in order to achieve that, I use gloss black spray paint, which is really important because without that you won't get any pretty color of the powder. So you really need that gloss black base. You don't need to prime your base with primer or anything. I usually just put 2 coats of gloss black. First, 1 coat just to, get the color down, and because it's gloss black, it usually doesn't accumulate all too well along the edges. So I always put 1 coat and then just wait for that to cure and then put the 2nd coat. You can try it with 1 coat depending on which kind of paint you're using or what your experiences are. The paint I'm using here, that's some kind of alkyd paint, which is a resin-based paint. I don't particularly recommend or de-recommend it. It's just one that I've found to dry pretty nicely. It just works well for me, but you can totally also use acrylic paint or whatever lacquer you have near you. The only thing that I don't recommend is Tamiya gloss black, for the simple reason that it dries too quickly to apply the powder to. I've tried that and it didn't work. So yeah, for this particular color, I'm using a powder I got off of eBay. You can also find it off Amazon, of a set. I will link that in the description. It's the number 8 of this set, and it's really cheap. Like, it's just normal nail powders, actually. This kind of powder is a little more expensive than the others, but I'm pretty sure you won't pay more than $3 per this little tube, dose, whatever it is, this pack. If you're thinking that's like really expensive, that actually isn't, because it lasts you forever. Yeah, even though you feel like you need a lot of powder per part you paint, you actually don't, and you can just use it for like an entire Zoid or more, and well, that's pretty cheap in my opinion, at least compared to what spray paint costs at times. And it looks way cooler. So I have already a part here on one of my other projects that's a forever work in process. If you're wondering why there is a golden sticker on it, if we're gonna paint powder over it anyway, it's because I saw this really cool idea of putting a kind of 3D sticker below the top layer of the paint, which will then create kind of an embossed look. It's actually pretty dope, and I can show it to you later on another part that I've already made. But yeah, as you can see, or I hope you can see it, especially down here at the edges, the paint didn't really stick, so that's where the orange base color still shows through. So that's what I'm gonna paint now. I have a brush here just to get rid of the last stray particles of powder when I'm done with this stuff. But for now, all I need to do is basically just paint this one in the gloss black and then come right back, because you gotta process that immediately. So no waiting for it to cure. I'm just gonna paint this and I'll be right back. Alright, so I literally just painted this part in the gloss black outside. It doesn't have to be a particularly thick coat, it's just that with any gloss color you will need a little thicker coat to get the gloss wet look than with, for example, a matte paint. Also, while this is not a spray paint tutorial, I just want to say that these skewers with alligator clips on them are like the best thing for painting anything. Just take a skewer, put it in the base of the alligator clip, and you can just put that into a glass or whatever you use to hold your sticks up. It's really convenient and very cheap, and really the best thing I've ever encountered. Yeah, so I'm still talking because what we want to do is we want to wait for this fresh coat to dry a little. A little as in, it should be around still tacky, because that's how it takes the powder the best way. And that way the powder will dry into the paint and you can't just easily wash it off afterwards, or even, well, you can scratch it off if you're like really set your mind to it, but it's not as vulnerable as if you just try to apply it over, well, the already cured paint. So it's really important for the paint to still be tacky so that you can just rub the powder into it. What I recommend best for this is a eyeshadow applicator. Actually, you will get this thing with every single powder you get on eBay or Amazon or whatever. I have like probably over 50 of these, so you will definitely have more of those than you need. My friend uses a silicone brush to apply the powder. I haven't been able to really get that to work just yet, because for me it usually just scratches the surface. But if it worked for you, I mean, a lot of this is going to be trial and error. It took me like a month to figure out this technique. Yeah. So you want to wait for this to be tacky, but not too dry yet. So in order to test that, you just use your finger. The convenient thing on this is you can just here stick your finger into the base. I'm not sure if that will show on camera, the fingerprint that I just made around here, so that you can test on the alligator clip how dry the paint is without actually touching the paint, which is really convenient because nobody likes fingerprints in their nice and shiny coat. Especially not me. Yeah. So, let me check again. This should be around, yeah, it should be around ready for the powder yet. So you just take this. By the way, if you're asking why I'm wearing a glove, a nitrile glove, don't use latex gloves, because especially the white ones, when you sweat with your hand, which you always will, it turns yellow and stains, which is really sucky, so I do not recommend that. But nitrile gloves are really neat because, one, you are really prone to leaving fingerprints on the part if you actually accidentally touch it somehow and you're not wearing that. So yeah, plus when you spray the part, you won't get any spray paint on your hand. And what I also like to do is I just take this bottle usually, because the nozzle, you know, always has a little bit of spray paint, liquid spray paint stuck to it after it's done spraying, and I just wipe that onto my finger, and that way I always have a clean nozzle. Alrighty, so I will just take this powder now. I will want to have a decent amount of powder on my applicator, so not just a little bit, but a proper amount, because you don't actually want the applicator to really create any friction or rub on the surface. You just want to basically distribute the powder evenly without applying much force. So what I'm gonna do is just very gently sweep the applicator over the surface. This is actually really hard to do because I'm having to hold this for the camera and I can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm just basically doing this blindly, kind of. I'm hoping that it works out. You want to be very gentle on the gloss paint, because otherwise, as you can see here, maybe it will start to tear a little, which you really don't want, because that looks bad. Just gonna keep applying this very gently. Ooh, I really can't see what I'm doing. Why did I do this on a live item? I'm an idiot. Oh gosh. You will also notice that after a while, or some parts have dried more than others, and you will be able to apply a little more pressure onto those. Just be sure to test first. Don't tear like I just did. I'm an idiot. Fixing that is, well, you gotta start accepting imperfection. I'm sorry. It's hard lesson for me to learn too. So you can already see here how nicely the sticker underneath is coming out. So it really looks like some kind of embossing instead of just sticker. It should look nice, but not what I was going for. Alright, as you can see, you will lose some of this stuff depending on how you do it. I'm just doing this for the camera right now, so I am probably being way more messy than I usually would be. Why did nobody warn me that tutorials are really hard to make? So just gently, basically brush it on. Very gently, very gently. And yeah, you're probably like, why are you wasting so much powder? It's falling off and it's all clumpy and stuff. Doesn't matter, really. You get so much powder off of this thing. The stuff you lose this way is really negligible. Why? I don't know. I'm not native. I'm sorry. I'm actually German. Don't tell anyone. Okay, so we'll mess up. Also, just a heads up, it's I highly do not recommend clear coating powder. Even though we did rub it into the gloss paint here, which should hold it in place. In my experience, what happens when you try to clear coat it with any clear color paint, what happens will be that it loosens the surface of the powder, makes it less shiny, makes it more like, I don't know, just the way powder looks if you get it wet. It's like all sparkly, but not shiny in a good way. Yay for English. So yeah, just paint them with love. Use the eyeshadow applicator to rub the last bits in. If you're more confident, or if it's already dried, you can try buffing it a little to get a shiny, nice and even coat. Oh phew, it did turn out decently. I don't have to redo this part. Don't ever do any stuff live, people. I don't recommend it. Always use spoons. Why didn't I do that? Alright, and the last brush I have, it's a very soft brush. Please close. Close. There we go. You didn't see that. It's a very soft brush. Very soft, so that you don't accidentally streak the paint or stuff, because it's still touchy. Like if I were to grab this with my fingers now, I would still leave fingerprints, so definitely do not do that. And you can just go ahead and use that brush to brush away any loose bits that are still on there that you didn't get with the eyeshadow applicator. Just like so. I also sometimes just tend to blow on it because I'm weird like that. And yeah, I hope you can see the pattern real nicely now. Not sure what the focus depth of this camera is, but yeah, you can see it right there, which is pretty cool if you want to ever achieve that effect. I'm not doing it on my Geodetoise though, because I'm lazy and it's not really what I was planning for it. Yeah, so the takeaway from this is that if you want to do this paint job, you're going to have to plan a lot of time for it, because you will have to wait for it to dry enough so that you can apply the powder. It'll definitely take some hours of your day to work on this stuff, but it's worth it because it looks absolutely amazing. And it really trips your eyes out, because depending on the angle, it has a different color for one eye than it does for the other, and it's just like, what is happening? Drugs. Yeah, it might just confuse everyone who's watching this, maybe ever. Oh gosh. So what I usually then do with this stuff is, when it's, you know, completely dried, the next day cured, I just take another microfiber towel cloth thing and just microfiber cloth, something what you use for glass, for example, and just buff it a little more. It's not going to make a huge difference, but sometimes a small difference is all it needs. Again, I do not recommend top coating it. What I have tried in the past, however, with powder is hairspray. So I will have to experiment with that more, but I've noticed that hairspray dries much quicker than clear paint, and because of that, it doesn't loosen the surface of the powder all that much. So you should be able to maybe figure out how to paint this stuff with hairspray. I clear coat it, and once the hairspray is cured, well, I would probably recommend 2 coats. You can try actually clear coating it with another paint. I have yet to try this. Probably gonna run tests on that while I procrastinate on my bachelor thesis, lol. So yeah, hope this helped some of you guys, and I will again link the powder in the description because it's pretty dang dope. And yeah, if you make anything with that, please do share it because I would love to see that. No, really, I really would love. Please share, please share. See ya!